Hey, I'm Josh Carter, the body transformation expert, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ignition Academy Blueprint. If you've been struggling to lose weight, frustrated by your lack of results, feel like nothing works, and you're so pressed for time, you're in the right place. I'm going to share with you the step-by-step process I've used with hundreds, if not thousands, of clients in my almost 3 decades of coaching people, just like you. So buckle up, have a notepad ready, because it is likely that you are where you are because you've been given bad or outdated information. So it might not be your fault where you are, but it's 100% your responsibility to take care of it. And I'm going to show you I'm holding nothing back. So buckle up and let's dive in. So first off, this is not for you if you don't want to improve your health or your self-esteem. If you would prefer to just complain instead of taking responsibility for your outcomes, I'm not your guy, and you're not in the wrong place. If you just whine or have a victim mentality, yeah, you know what? Bad things happen to good people. That's okay, but you know what? It is still your responsibility to do something about it. If you're know-it-all, like I can't tell you how many guys have said, "Oh, I used to bench 315 in high school. I know what to do. I just need to do it. I know." Okay, if you knew what to do, you'd be doing it. So don't give me that. That's not true. And if you're closed-minded or uncoachable, if you're not willing to follow advice that goes against what you think you know, then again, you're not in the right place. I'm not your guy, because I'm going to share with you some things that might actually go against what you think you know, and that's probably why you're stuck. Just being honest. So if you can handle that, if you can, if you can handle the truth, like Tom Cruise there, I'm your guy, because I'm about to give it to you, and I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm not going to sweet talk it. I'm not going to give you hugs and cuddles. It's not what I'm about. I'm about giving you straight talk. Yeah, I'm going to offend some people. Yeah, I'm going to piss some people off. I'm fine with that. I'm not your guy. But for the people who can take it, who want the straight truth, want the hard facts, the no bullshit approach to changing your life, not only quickly but permanently, you are definitely in the right place. So again, this is for you if you've been having trouble getting the weight off and ultimately sustaining it. Yeah, you know what? If you lose weight and put it back on, so what? That's not good, right? That means nothing. We want to sustain it. If you've tried everything and nothing seems to work because the weight keeps piling back on, I got you. Time management. Yeah, I know you're busy. So this has to be a system that fits within your lifestyle. I don't want you to have to reverse engineer to have your lifestyle fit your goals. No, quite the opposite. I want to make this happen with minimal time investment, yet maximal return on investment. If depression is swallowing you up and you can't stand how you look and feel, man, I've been there. I get it. If you feel disgusting, I hate it when people email me this. I mean, I hate it in that it hurts to see people describe themselves as, "Oh, I feel disgusting. I look disgusting." I hate it. Hate it. And I want to do something about it. I'm here to help. I'm going to help you fix that. If you need a bulletproof plan that will guarantee you get results that you want and deserve, I'm going to hand it to you today. So stay tuned. So first, who am I? My name is Josh Carter, body transformation expert. I am the father of boys, two boys, young men at this point. Actually, that photo's a little old. I need to update that. They're 17 and 20 right now. They're big kids. I'm a transformational speaker. Yeah, I'm an expert in nutrition and an author. I've been doing this I did the math the other day, 29 years. Yeah, I've been in the biz for quite a while here. I've appeared on national TV as a fitness and fat loss expert. Also appeared in multiple publications, you can see them below, and mindset coach. What I've come to determine over my course of doing this for 29 years is that it's not necessarily about the sets, reps, and macros as much as it is convincing yourself that you're worth it, about becoming the person you need to become so that you can do the things that you need to do to have what you want to have. And I'm going to go into that in detail in a minute. And so my job is to show you how fun and easy fitness and fat loss can be, and how sustainable it is when it becomes habitualized and basically becomes on autopilot. Again, I'm going to describe all of that. So I've been where you are. I'm not one of these guys who's always been in shape. You know, a lot of these coaches have came out of the womb ripped with a six-pack. Not me, baby. I was a fat kid here. So this first picture here, I am in 2007. That's my young son, Nate. And I was 36, over 270 pounds. Definitely the fat dad with the dad bod. And here I am. That is actually on my 51st birthday. And I was 220 pounds and about 8% body fat, give or take. That middle picture is actually also on my birthday, and I was 5. You could also see even at that age, I had a little bit of a belly going on. So I know I've struggled with weight literally my entire life. And yeah, I've gotten in shape, and only to have, things happen. Life happens, right? And a couple years ago, I've had to have my hip replaced. And long story short, it did not go well. 3 weeks after my first surgery, they had to do it again. They had to go in again. So I was laid up for over 2 months, and it was not fun. It was really a hit, both physically. I deteriorated physically and mentally. It was a tough thing to overcome, to, you know, literally be using a walker to get around and have to ask for assistance to like put on socks or go to the bathroom. It sucked, man. It sucked. But I was able to overcome it. And so I just wanted you to know that essentially I've been where you are. So I get it. All right. So I get it. So let's keep going. I know it's like, because yes, I've lost and weight and just to gain it all back more times than I can freaking count. I've done it by making myself absolutely miserable and starving myself and following stupid, unrealistic plans. I've looked at my reflection and absolutely hated what I've seen, avoided social functions, hated the photos I saw on social media and all that stuff, just cringed. I avoided photos. I'll be honest with you. I avoided photos literally for years. I was the dad behind the camera. No, I'll take the picture. I'll take the picture. I didn't want anything to do with being in photos for years, and literally had crippling anxiety attacks and confidence issues for a long time. And I'm going to share with you how I overcame them, and how, if you have anything even remotely similar, how you can too. So let's just take a look at a glimpse of your future. Here's just a handful of clients that I've worked with. You can feel free to pause the video at any point and take a look at some of these people. And let me give you a few more specific examples. So this is Yesenia, and yeah, it says half the woman. Okay, I don't think technically she was half, but she's a shorter woman, and she was maybe 5'2", maybe. And she dropped over 100 pounds. So talk about a massive difference in her appearance and her confidence. And I love that she basically called me an asshole at first, because you know, like a lot of people, I call them out on their BS, right? Because that's what's holding them back. The validation of their bullshit excuses that essentially keeps people stuck in their comfort zones. And I do what I can to respectfully push people out, and sometimes that can be painful to hear, that you're validating crap that's keeping you where you are. This is Norm, and when he started with me, he was 56, and that's him in there, and he was 300 pounds, smoked 3 packs a day, and at 76, he's actually, we dropped 100 pounds within, let's say, the first year or so, and he's been able to keep it off. He's now my training partner. We've been training together for over 20 years. He started with me when my oldest son was 7 days old. I remember specifically, and I remember he came in, and he was an in-person client, and he came in to me, and he said, "Yeah, I just quit smoking 3 packs a day." And he, you know, at the time he was 300 pounds, and I remember thinking, man, I hope this guy's check clears, because I'm never going to see this guy again. He's going to go back to smoking and overeating and all this other stuff. And man, this guy has been so consistent, and the results speak for themselves. I love this picture of Heather. She wanted to fit back in that dress. That was her high school prom dress from 18 years prior, and she did. She looks absolutely amazing. There's a Brian. I want to say that was about a 40 pound loss. I don't remember the actual specifics, but look at the look of confidence on his face there. And that's, for me, that says more than any number on a scale. Corinne here also dropped 100 pounds, and one of the things that she really enjoyed was that she could eat, you know, still eat the food that she loved. She didn't have to cut out anything. This program, this lifestyle, is not about sacrifice. I hate that thinking you have to give something up. You really don't. It's more a matter of prioritizing what's most important to you. I don't like having to give up things like, I like pizza and I like burgers and things like that. And Oreos are freaking awesome. They're great, right? But that doesn't mean I want to eat them every day, or at least I shouldn't eat them every day, because, yeah, you know, obviously not particularly healthy. But every once in a while, it's really okay. So you can achieve the body and health of your dreams while still enjoying foods that you absolutely love. This is John. He dropped 60 pounds, I want to say, and he was working with a personal trainer, and the results just weren't coming because too many trainers just focus on working out, and that's not what it's about, man. Working out's about 10% of your success. The other part of the success comes from nutrition, yes, and mindset. We're going to dive into that, and he completely transformed. Lisa, she hates this picture. I love it. That first picture looks so much like a mugshot. I always tease her that she looked like she was on that show Cops, and she absolutely transformed, and she's just beaming in that second photo. And you know, the confidence that comes along with that is just, again, more important to me than any number or scale. We call it an NSV, a non-scale victory, just that smile on her face. Mike here was falling out of his pants when we took that after picture. He was giving me crap about how he had to go and buy a whole new wardrobe because all of his pants were falling off and even his belts didn't fit. So that was cool too. Anna here, in this beginning photo, she was just kind of in softer shape, I would say. A mother of 2 and just didn't feel like she had the body that she wanted anymore. And so we were able to transform her. And in the second photo, she said, oh no, I'm just pointing at my sunburn because I've never been sunburned before. I was like, you're full of crap. You're pointing at your abs, which is awesome. So again, the confidence there. I just absolutely love it. This is Drew, and he got a 6-pack. And it's just his first 6 weeks, and he kind of has that classic dad bod, just a little soft around the middle. Didn't really work out or pay attention to nutrition, but he was also a dad. And when we fixed him up and got him moving and stuff, what do you know? The abs started to reveal themselves. And yeah, and that's just the beginning. I've literally worked with hundreds, probably even thousands of clients over my 29 years to help them achieve the body and health that they want and ultimately deserve. And I'm absolutely going to help you do the same thing. And I'm going to walk you through the steps that I use in my Ignition Academy system to make that a reality in short order. And again, it's not just about making it happen fast. It's about making it happen permanently and sustainably and enjoyably, right? Because if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. Doesn't matter how great the results are. If it sucks, if I just said, oh yeah, just eat boiled chicken breast and asparagus 3 to 5 times a day or whatever, yeah, you know what, that would work. You'd get nice and lean. But good Lord, that would suck. I would never do that. I'd never do that. All right, so let's take a look at some stats here. 70% of the U.S. is now obese or overweight. 80% of women over 40 are overweight or obese. 50% are either diabetic or pre-diabetic, because we've been following this flawed fat loss model. Take a look at this map. This is obesity trends. Basically, darker is worse. And while this is from the CDC, the last numbers they had were from, at least the last numbers I could find, were from 2015. I assure you, it hasn't gotten any better. All right, we've been moving more and cutting calories since 1975, and obviously, look what that's gotten us. Because that is not the answer, my friends. That is just not the answer. Again, people think, oh, I just need to eat less, and actually, no, that ain't it. But let's find out what is it. All right. So what I'm going to show you today is just what I call the Ignition Academy hierarchy of fat loss. And so the things that are lower on the pyramid are more important. The things that are at the top of the pyramid are less important. Now, don't confuse less important with unimportant, because that's not what I mean. It's kind of like what's going to move the needle the most. So if you only have limited time or limited resources, you're going to want to focus on what's at the bottom of the pyramid. And the more time and or resources you have, you can start adding in things at the top. Okay, so let's start at the top and work our way down from, again, least important, that doesn't mean unimportant, to most important. Oh, I forgot. I do have a secret. All right, I do have a secret that I will be sharing with you. And but you got to stay to the end. You got to stay to the end. And don't cheat. If you're watching this on YouTube or something, don't scan to the end of the freaking video and cheat. It really is worth watching, because you're not going to want to miss any piece of this, because there could be a crucial piece of the puzzle that you're going to go, oh man, I didn't realize I was doing this, and I could fix that, and my life could change. So don't cheat. All right, so here's what you're going to discover. What you're doing wrong is likely that you've just been given bad information or outdated or incomplete information, right? And why it's not your fault. And again, something to take into consideration, it might not be your fault where you are, because you might have gotten bad information, right? You might be following some outdated advice, or you're just doing the wrong things. So it might not be your fault, but understand this. It is 100% your responsibility to do something about it. No one's coming to save you. No one, not me, not anybody. You have to do something about it. You have to realize that you are worthy of success and happiness and confidence and health, all that stuff. But you got to go out there and get it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to, and it's not near as hard as you think. That's actually kind of fun. I'm going to show you how to optimize your efforts so that you can discover that you're not going to waste another minute following a protocol that's ineffective, right, or inefficient and not fun. Again, I want you to absolutely love this. I want you to look forward to every workout, to every time you move, to every time you eat, everything. You have to look forward to it. Go, I can't wait for this next workout. I can't wait for this next meal. I love this, right? And I'm going to show you how to create a bulletproof plan, right? And when you know what to prioritize and why, it becomes so simple. It really does. So, you ready? Let's dive in. Cardio, top of the list. What? I know, dreaded cardio. I got to be honest, I hate cardio. I hate it. I don't think I ever really do cardio. And, yes, there are benefits. Again, don't mistake less important for unimportant. There are health benefits to cardio. I'm going to show you those in a second. But there's also health benefits to eating kale, and I ain't doing that either. So, people tend to go to cardio first. Oh, I just need to do more cardio. But it is really probably the least effective way of losing fat. It truly is. Now there are exceptions, people who have movement restrictions and might be ill or elderly populations. Yes, absolutely. But for the majority of the population, right, it is not the first thing you should be doing. It's honestly the last. It burns calories while you do it, but not after it. And that's called EPOC, which is excess post-oxygen consumption, which means after the fact, essentially. We call it afterburn. Your body adapts to cardio rapidly. Basically, your body adapts so rapidly that you have to do more and more each time you do it. So, and I'm just going to make these numbers up, so don't go, oh, those numbers don't make sense. Just pretend they do. Let's say you're walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes, and let's say you burn, 200 calories. That's probably not accurate, right? Well, you do that on week one, and you're burning, 200 calories, I guess, right? And then, but by week two, if you do the same amount of time, now you could only be burning 175. Well, crap. Now you either got to walk faster or longer to get it back up. And then the same thing happens. So basically, the more of it you do, the less of it does for you, because your body adapts so rapidly. And that's a problem when it comes to fat loss, okay? But here are some benefits. Improves cardiovascular conditioning. Well, you can see all these, right? Lowers blood pressure, decreases resting heart rate, assists in weight management and or weight loss. So, like if you're a fitness competitor, if you're a bodybuilder getting on stage or something, yeah, we want to increase the caloric deficit, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, which means burns more calories over the course of the day. Yeah, you're going to want to implement some cardio. I would also argue I've gone on trips like to, where I knew I'd be walking around a city I'm unfamiliar with and doing a lot of walking. Yeah, then guess what? I hopped on a treadmill a couple weeks before so I could get used to walking, because I didn't want to, have my shins get sore or whatever from all the walking I was doing. So there are reasons to do it, but fat loss is not, cardio is not the thing you're going to want to do if fat loss is your priority. At least it's not the first thing you want to do. So, what's next? NEAT. What the hell is NEAT? Let's talk about that. NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, right? That's a mouthful, and that's why we call it NEAT instead. So let's take a look at this chart here. This chart shows us where our caloric expenditures, meaning the number of calories we burn in a day, where it comes from. And this is obviously a bit generalized, but more or less it's true. So the majority of the calories that we burn in a day come from our BMR. That's our basal metabolic rate. So that's the number of calories you would burn if literally you did nothing. If you just didn't get up in the morning and you just laid in bed and did nothing, this is the amount of calories that you would burn. Okay, the next one up, and that's about 70%. The next one up is NEAT, and that is 15% of your daily caloric expenditure. And non-exercise activity thermogenesis is essentially movement that isn't classified as exercise. So that's just walking around, doing stuff. It's like steps. You know how you've probably heard that, oh, you want to get 8 to 10,000, 12,000 steps a day. That's what we're talking about here, is just moving that isn't necessarily exercise. So here's some easy ways to increase your NEAT. Use the stairs, park farther away, get up and walk around hourly. I have on I have an Apple Watch and I have a Fitbit. And my Apple Watch gives me a reminder every, I want to say 60 or 90 minutes, where it says, hey, get your ass up, right? So I just stand up and just move around a little bit. Use a fitness tracker like the Apple Watch or a Fitbit or something similar, because research has shown that people who wear those take an extra 1,235 steps a day and got 48.5 more minutes of exercise per week. That's over 37,000 more steps and more than 24 hours more exercise per month. It adds up. It's kind of like one of those accountability things. When you know you're wearing the watch and it's tracking your steps, you're gonna take more. So you do want to aim for 8 to 12,000 steps per day. Don't freak out if you get the watch and go, oh my God, I'm only doing 5,000. That's fine. You're not in a competition. If you got 5,000 today, get 5,100 tomorrow, and then 5,150. And then 6,000, right? Just work your way up. You're not comparing yourself to anybody but yourself. So just work your way up slowly but surely. And I highly recommend getting a fitness tracker, just again for accountability and just knowing that movement counts over the long haul. What's next? Sleep and stress optimization. I know this one's probably a shock to a lot of people. What do you mean fat loss is increased by sleep? Well, basically, fat loss is halted if your sleep and stress levels are high. If your sleep is crap and your stress levels are high, let's say that. So let's take a look at why that is. There's an upregulation in appetite boosting hormones and decrease in the satisfaction hormones. Basically, that means that you tend to make more bad food choices that are higher in sugar because you want to have that kind of reward center rewarded, right? And sugar and fat and those types of bad foods tend to do that. Decreased sleep equals decreased fat loss. And that also means your stress hormone called cortisol is also increased. And when cortisol is pumping through your veins in response to stress and or decreased sleep, your body will stop fat loss and increase fat storage. And basically, cortisol also makes you feel hungrier, and so you end up eating more. Now, we do need cortisol. It is absolutely critical, but elevated levels of cortisol can be quite detrimental to our overall health. So get some sleep and avoid stress. So this next slide has a ton of stuff on it. I'm just going to hit a few of these. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read through them. What to do to avoid stress? Avoid assholes. That's my number one thing. Just eliminate those people to the best of your ability. Get a minimum of 8 hours of quality sleep. Go to bed about the same time. Try not to take naps much past 3 p.m. because that's going to affect your sleep. Stay away from caffeine and alcohol late in the day. Sunlight, especially first thing in the morning. That actually has been shown to really help sleep a lot. If you've ever gone to the beach or the lake or wherever you live and gotten sun on a particular day, gotten a lot of sun, and you come home and you're just wiped out, and when you go to bed, and you just sleep like a freaking rock, man. That's why. Try not to eat a heavy meal too late in the day. Keep your bedroom comfortable, dark, quiet, and not too warm or cold. Actually, colder tends to be a little bit better. A recent thing I read said 68 degrees Fahrenheit tends to promote deeper sleep. And follow a nighttime routine to relax, right? Reading, listening to music, whatever. I turn off my phone. For me, about 9 o'clock, I turn off the phone. Barring an emergency from my kids or something, I'm not picking up the phone. I'm not answering a text or anything like that. I just turn all that off. And if you really want to get into it, meditation or hypnosis, awesome. So good for all of this stuff. All right, what's next? Strength training. Yeah, you probably knew this one was coming. Strength training. It is a big freaking deal. Here's why. Strength training burns calories very efficiently, increases your BMR. If we think back to that chart when we were looking at the NEAT, the BMR, the basal metabolic rate, is the biggest expenditure of calories. And so if you can increase that, it becomes a permanent, more or less, a permanent increase. Obviously makes you stronger. Typically, or I should say preferentially removes abdominal fat. Improves heart health, helps you manage blood sugar. So those of you who are struggling with blood sugar issues, whether you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, it absolutely helps with that. Boosts self-esteem, body image rather. Makes your bones stronger. Definitely helps boost your mood. I feel so freaking good after a workout. There's some days, I love working out, and there's some days where I think to myself, I never want to see a goddamn dumbbell again, right? But after the workout, inevitably, I feel better. I'm not always going to set records, right? I'm not always going to hit a PR. But you know what? I typically feel better. It does actually reduce your cancer risk. Has a massive EPOC, which is, again, burning calories after. Get this, 36 to 48 hours after you're done working out, you're still burning excess calories because of the workout. That's because, essentially, you've inflicted some damage, good damage, on your muscles, and that requires energy to repair and regenerate the tissue that you damaged, right? And that's good news. And obviously, you appear leaner, and by and large, the leaner you look, the better you look. I mean, obviously, there's an endpoint to that, but yeah, leaner typically looks better for most, if not all of us, right? So how much and how often? So how much do we need to work out? You'd be surprised to know that 3 to 5 times a week is it. I would argue that most people, 3 is probably plenty. For most people, 5 is too much. 30 to 45 minutes. You don't need to be in there for hours. Get in, get it done, get out. Have short rest periods. When we're talking about fat loss and strength gain, shorter rest periods is where it's at. If you're a power lifter and you need to deadlift 500 pounds or whatever, some crazy things like that, longer rest periods are definitely called for. But if we're talking about fat loss, increased metabolism, and getting the most out of your workouts, short rest periods. Focus on progressive overload, meaning, if this week you're curling 15s, well, maybe in a week or two, now you're going to curl 17 and a halves, and a couple weeks later, maybe curl 20s. So progressively overloading, and there's various techniques, not just obviously increasing weight. And then intensity, getting after it rather than duration. So it's more about how hard you work out, and that's a very relative term. So, what's hard for me might not be hard for you, or vice versa, but intensity rather than duration. I'd rather you work out hard, and because you're going to get way more out of it than working out for a long time. Okay. Here's a good example. Look at marathoners versus sprinters. If you look at a marathoner, they're very lanky and stringy and thin and aesthetically my personal opinion, don't look great. But if you look at sprinters, both male and female, man, those guys look like superheroes because they only do short, intense bouts of movement, and thus their metabolism is increased. They've got nice musculature, and they look freaking great. Same is true of workouts. Okay. And strength training is actually a triple threat. It burns calories while you do it. Awesome. Burns calories after you do it, like I said, 36 to 48 hours after, and permanently increases your metabolism because the more muscle you carry, the more calories you burn even while at rest. That does not mean you will look like a giant bodybuilder like Arnold Schwarzenegger or nothing like that. That's not how it works. That's like saying, I'm not going to drive a car because I don't want to be a race driver. It doesn't work like that. All right? More muscle means you burn more calories. That doesn't mean you're going to look like a bodybuilder. Not a man, not a woman. That does not happen accidentally. You don't look in the mirror and go, oh, damn it, I'm the Hulk. No, doesn't happen. Unfounded fear. All right, what's next? Prioritizing protein. There are 3 macronutrients. There's carbs, proteins, and fats. And when you prioritize protein, your life will change. It reduces hunger, reduces carb cravings. For me, I will say carbohydrates spikes my appetite, and it's like I'm just an endless pit. Like I could eat Lucky Charms all freaking day, hours on end and never be full. But, if I have a chicken breast or something like that, it's like, no, I'm good to go, right? It automatically reduces calories, has a huge TEF. I guess I didn't mention this on one of the slides. If you backtrack and look at that graph that had the NEAT and the BMR, TEF stands for the thermic effect of feeding. And basically what that means is when you eat, your body has to expend energy, calories, to process and assimilate the nutrients. Carbs, fat, and protein all require energy to process, right? And protein takes 20 to 30%, which means, using just random numbers here, if you were to eat 100 calories worth of protein, 20 to 30 of those calories would be used just in the processing of that. All right. It helps bones, helps lower blood pressure, repairs after injury, helps repair after workouts, obviously, repairs metabolism, and it helps to increase lean mass. And again, the more lean mass you have, the more calories you burn even while at rest. Here's just a short list of some of the best protein sources right there. Protein powders, you got to be careful because some of them are full of carbs and stuff, which is kind of garbage, to be honest with you. So you want one that's pretty low in carbohydrates. Typically, a good whey protein I would recommend. You got to find one you like. I'd hate for you to go and buy a 5-pound jug of protein to only go, oh man, this stuff tastes like garbage. I hate it. And I've done it a million times, to be honest with you. So make sure you like it before you spend too much. Mike's a lot of if you go to a Vitamin Shop or GNC or your local nutrition store, sometimes they have sample packs. So get one of those before you invest in a giant tub. Also, I should have put on here protein bars. One of my favorite is like Quest protein bars, and there's a ton of flavors. I like them all. Some I like better than others, and they tend to have 20-25 grams of protein in them with only 2 to 5 grams of carbohydrates, which is actually a really good ratio. So I highly recommend those as well. All right, here's how we calculate. How much protein do you need? Let's calculate. Oh, there's Norm again. 1 pound of protein per pound of desired body weight. So if you are a man and you weigh 220 pounds, but you really, you need to lose some weight and you want to weigh 180, then you shoot for 180 grams of protein. Okay. More is also fine. I mean, it's really okay. We can talk about caloric deficit in a second, but more is also fine because that's not really going to cause any problems. But we drop too much less and results slow down significantly. Same for women, right? So you put in your desired, but if you want to weigh 120, aim for 120 grams of protein, okay? And we'll talk about calories here in a second, but that is the one target you really need to set and really need to aim for. Are you going to get it right every day? Nope, I certainly don't. But most days I do, right? But you're not always going to hit it, and that's just fine. So long as you're aiming for that target and you keep track, you're going to be in business. What is the bottom of the pyramid? What is the most important? I made this one kind of a twofer because it's caloric deficit, and I'm going to explain what that is, obviously, in a second, and hormonal optimization. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's dive into the caloric deficit first. Okay, it's in its simplest form, it's a math, right? Calories in versus calories out. There's a little bit more to it, but bear with me because I'm going to get there. You need to consume less calories than you burn. I think that makes intuitive sense, right? So we need to make sure that we're burning more calories. Otherwise, your body has no reason, essentially, to tap into its body fat stores, which your body fat stores are stored energy. It's stored energy in case you need it, right? So from your body's perspective, fat is a survival mechanism. What our bodies don't necessarily realize is that we can eat whenever we want, right? Essentially, you know, most of us have access to as much food as we want whenever we want, you know, give or take, right? So from our body's perspective, holding on to fat is a good thing. But from a health perspective, and ultimately, most of us, as those stats I showed earlier on in the masterclass here, show that too many of us are way overdoing it and are way overweight, and that's not cool. So we need to consume less calories. So how do we find out how much to consume? You can use an online calculator. I have one. It's free. It's myfatlosscalculator.com. You head there, and it'll spit out all your numbers. It'll tell you your protein. Tell your protein levels as well, your calorie levels, all that stuff. It's, okay, to be clear, it is an estimate, but it's a place to start, because there's no way for me to tell you specifically, oh yeah, you definitively need to consume this much. It's kind of a trial and error. We start at one place and we go, okay, is this working? Great, let's keep doing it. It's not, okay, we need to adjust up or down or whatever based on some other factors, but it's a good place to start. An easy math equation is 12 times your desired body weight. You can start there. Right? Use a macro tracker like MyFitnessPal. It's free. That way you can start tracking everything. Because I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients who go, no, I'm only consuming this many calories. And I say, okay, sure. Let's let me see your food logs. Oh, I'm not doing it. Well, do it and report back. Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. So that's what I do. Oh, sure, I trust you. Now I want to verify, right? And it's kind of funny because study after study has shown that most people underestimate the number of calories they consume by on the order of like 40 to 50%. It's damn big. So when people are struggling, I'm not eating that many calories, I'm not losing weight. It's like, well, you sure about that? So track. It's not fun, but think of it like if you go to your accountant and say, I want to save $1 million. Just, okay, great. Let me see your deposits. No, I don't know. Well, how much have you been spending? Well, don't know that either. Well, what the hell are you supposed to do with that, right? You need to track, at least in the beginning. I would argue that you don't need to track forever. Again, once we are committed and habitualize the way that you eat, you won't ever have to track again. You won't ever have to track again. It's just like you like brushing your teeth. You don't have to measure out the toothpaste. You don't have to have a timer set for how long you brush your teeth. You've been doing it long enough that you just know. And that's what fitness and health, you can do the exact same thing. And I argue it's a hell of a lot more fun than brushing your teeth too, right? And another way to just track how many, or to estimate how many calories to consume would be to track your calories for like 5 days in a row and go, okay, and I'm just making numbers up. Okay, I'm consuming 2,500 calories and I'm heavier than I'd like. I'm going to subtract 500 calories, so now I'm only going to consume 2,000 calories a day. And that's a good place to start too. So you can do that as well. But that's not the end of it. Oh, let me talk. I meant to touch on this. Intermittent fasting, I really like. It's not for everybody. I really like it because it is not starving. By the way, fasting, you're going to starve yourself. Nope, that's not what it's about. It's basically just compressing your eating window into a smaller frame of time, right? A very popular is the 8-16, where you eat for 8 hours and fast for 16. You time it right, basically. 6, 7, 8 of those hours you're asleep, right? Do it right. There's also the 5-2. Again, you can pause this. Eat, stop, eat, where you alternate, or you do like a 24-hour fast twice a week, alternate day fasting. You can do that too. Warrior diet's very similar to the 8-16, except it's like more like a 4-hour window. I do the 8-16 or thereabouts. I really like it. It makes it. I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat till about midday. It just makes my life so much simpler. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry during that fasting period. I was worried about it when I first started. It is not a factor. So get over the mental block that you'll be starving and that oh my God, I won't be able to eat and all that other bullshit. It's just not true. Again, that said, it's not for everybody, but I think a lot of people can benefit from it. And there are actually a huge number of benefits that go beyond just compressing, because when you compress that window of time, you're less likely to overeat. That's kind of what it comes down to. But autophagy, that's a huge one, and basically it chews up old cells, gets rid of them. And actually, a lot of people who have had loose skin, that's one of the things, like people who have lost a lot of weight and have a lot of loose skin, fasting has actually helped tighten up that skin, improves brain health. Again, pause it to read the write-ups, but longevity, gut microbiome, the BDNF, it's a brain factor, boosts growth hormone levels, enhances heart health, insulin sensitivity, so it's really good for people who are either pre-diabetic, insulin sensitive, or have insulin sensitivity issues or are diabetic. Skin health, as well as it encourages sustainable fat loss, because it's not like it's a crash diet or anything like that. So it actually can help you create sustained results for the long term. So again, I'm a huge fan, so you might want to give that a shot. But now let's talk about the hormonal optimization, because yeah, we talked about caloric deficit, but I think, you don't have to be a nutritional genius to know that if I said to you, okay, your perfect caloric intake is 2,000 to lose weight, your body is going to respond very, very differently if you consume chicken breast and broccoli in this picture versus 2,000 calories of Fruit Loops. Your body just will not respond the same way. The hormones that are released when you eat those two types of foods are wildly different. Wildly different. It just, so the people who are just, oh no, it doesn't matter what you eat so long as your calories are less, that is such shit advice, to be honest with you. It is terrible, and it encourages really poor eating habits that I'm not in favor of. So what we want to do is we want to optimize your hormonal environment within your body to turn you from a sugar burner, so that your body's burning the sugars that you eat, into a fat burner, which is obviously your body's stored body fat. And we want to make your body fat a much more attractive source of fuel than the food that you eat, right? And so what we can do is, by minimizing the sugars and carbs to manage the insulin, consume only healthy fats. Like, you don't want deep fried crap or trans fats or things like that. And we want to, as I said earlier, prioritize protein. It's going to kill your appetite, lead to even greater weight loss and more rapid weight loss. When you drop your carbohydrates, the fat melts off from the belly first. I know that's crazy. Improves cholesterol profile, improves your blood sugar and insulin levels, improves your blood pressure, stabilizes your energy levels. The problem a lot of times when people eat a high carbohydrate diet, even if they have no weight problems, is their energy levels are all over the map, man. It is crazy. They're bouncing off the walls and then crashing and stuff. It's because carbohydrates are not a slow release and can actually cause some energy problems. But when lower carbohydrates and we manage the insulin and glucose levels in your blood, energy levels are sustained long term, and it can prevent and even, I put this in quote, cure diabetes and pre-diabetes, because typically, and this is type 2 diabetes, is a disease that we bring on by ourselves by poor eating habits, right? And when you correct your eating habits, that disease can go away. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying, oh yeah, this is the way to cure your problems. What I'm saying is I've seen it happen a lot, that you can get rid of all the meds, get rid of insulin issues, and get rid of diabetes by correcting your hormonal environment within your body. And you can do that via the foods that you eat. All right, so let's take a look at this one more time. So here we are. We have this pyramid. And more importance at the bottom, less importance at the top, not unimportant. And so what we have here is the caloric deficit is at the bottom, most important protein intake, then strength training, sleep and stress optimization, NEAT, which is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and at the top we have got some cardio. And if we look at this, you might take note that the top, the less important stuff is activity based, and the more important stuff is nutrition based. Isn't that interesting? Right? Because how you eat kind of determines the body that you have, and then activity can help shape it. And again, it's not that it's unimportant, but the nutrition, the fuel that you feed your body is going to be the biggest determining factor of your outcomes when it comes to fat loss and health. So take that into consideration. But remember when I said I had a secret? Let's get into that, because now this is really what separates us. This is really what sets us apart in the Ignition Academy, is because we don't just do the do. And I'll explain what that means. We have to go a little bit deeper. So we got two things that are even more important than the caloric deficit and hormonal optimization. And what are we talking about here? Because this is all doing, right? That's the stuff we need to do. But who do we need to be? And here's an example. New Year's resolution people are super serious. Oh, they mean it this time. This year I mean it. I'm never going to drink again. I'm going to eat nothing but salads. I'm going to work out every day for 2 hours. And they are super serious for all of about 2 or 3 weeks. And then they fall off because they're concentrating on what they need to do rather than who they need to be, right? Because when you are the person, then you can do the things, but you can't do what you're not. You can't outperform yourself. And I go much deeper into this in the academy, but that's kind of the surface level. We need to become the person that we need to be so that we can do what we need to do. So what do we need to do first? Commitment. Commitment means do it anyway. You can't You can't outdo yourself. You have to be committed to your outcomes. And that means you put in the work even when, and I would say especially when it's inconvenient. This is not determined by your mood. This is not determined by convenience. You do it anyway. You say you're going to go to the gym in the morning, you do it. Barring incident, barring, shit, I go outside and I've got 4 flat tires. Okay, guess what? Gonna have to deal with that. I get it. But barring catastrophe, if you said you're getting up and going to the gym in the morning, you're going to the gym in the morning. That's what a commitment is. Do it anyway, regardless of mood. Okay? And see, here's the deal, is that commitments form habits and habits form our lives. One of my coaches once told me, we don't get what we want in our lives, we get our habits. You don't have what you want, you better take a look at your habits. And how do we form a habit? By creating a commitment. The commitment comes first. I hope that makes sense. And then people say, oh, you know what, I just need some motivation. I'm just not motivated. What I hear is that means I don't want it. I need motivation. Well, no, you don't. You need to be committed. But try saying instead of I need motivation is, this isn't a priority to me, or this isn't important to me. Try saying that instead. Because motivation is bullshit. It helps you do what you want to do, which is essentially not particularly helpful, is it? Because you already want to do it, so what good is it? So yeah, it's okay to be motivated at the beginning of the year or whatever, but if you're not committed, it's not going to make a lick of difference. I mean, again, using that New Year's resolution thing, I want to say it's like 95+% people quit within the first 3 weeks, and the rest, pretty much the rest, within the weeks following that, because they're not committed, because they're relying on motivation, and motivation wanes and is completely unreliable. So you need to move past the notion of motivation and move yourself directly into commitment. And again, commitment means doing it anyway. What's next? Integrity. I know. You're thinking, oh, I thought I was just going to learn about sets and reps and stuff. Well, guess what? It goes much deeper than that, because your success is going to be 10% training, right, which is the activity, 90% nutrition, which is the protein and the caloric deficit, hormonal optimization, but 100% mindset, and that's where the commitment and the integrity come in. So let's talk about the integrity, shall we? Integrity can be interpreted in many ways, but basically it's honoring your word and your commitments. We tend to honor our words to others, but not so great in honoring our words to ourselves. So if I told somebody, hey, I'm going to meet you for lunch at noon, I'm meeting them there for lunch at noon, because I don't break promises to friends, but we tend to break our promises to ourselves all the time. Oh, I'll be to get to that tomorrow. Oh, I'll do this one thing. Again, using the going to the gym in the morning thing. I'm going to go to the gym in the morning. Oh, you wake up. Oh, I just didn't sleep that well. I'm just so tired. I just need to sleep a little bit. It's just, oh, it's cold. It's dark. It's whatever, right? Essentially, you're breaking your promise to yourself. You're literally breaking your word to yourself. And if that becomes your habit, then that becomes your habit. Your default is lying to yourself. And then essentially you won't ever get where you want to go, because essentially you don't keep your word to yourself. So being self-integral is critical to achieving your optimal outcomes. And again, one of my coaches once told me, it's okay to do something, it's okay not to do something, but it's not okay to say you're going to do it and then not do it. That's not okay. That's my personal opinion anyway. You might think differently, but I can't stress enough how being integral, meaning honoring yourself, honoring your word to yourself above all others, how critically important that is. Again, you wouldn't promise something to your spouse, to your children or something, and then just blow it off, right? You wouldn't do that because they're important to you. Well, you need to be just as important, if not more important, because how we treat ourselves typically translates into how we treat others. And we need to put ourselves first more than we. A lot of times people say, oh, I got to deal with my family, I got to deal with my spouse, I got to deal with this and that and that. Yeah, guess what? When you spend more time on yourself, there's more of you to give to others. And that, again, starts with having integrity and keeping your word and honoring your word to yourself. All right? Again, I hope that makes sense. And again, anything I'm talking about today, feel free to DM me. I'm going to have a link, and there's a link somewhere in the description below. Just DM me, and I'll happily talk you through it. So, if we look at this in a different way, right? When I talked about we need to do things, but more importantly, we need to be. So being is at the bottom, because that's most important. Who am I and what is important to me? What is at your core? Who are you? What is at your identity? And you need to shift your identity. The number one reason people don't get to where they want to go is a failure to shift their identity to who they need to be, to do what they need to do. What behaviors and actions do I need to take to have the outcomes that they want? Most people do complete backwards. Well, if I had more time, if I had more money, then I could finally do what I needed to do, and then I'd finally be happy. Nope. Completely do that backwards. Be happy first so that you can do what you need to do to have what you want to have. It's a complete shift in mindset. And when you make that shift, your life will change. So again, no one's going to come to your house and make your dreams come true. This is what Grant Cardone said. Mel Robbins said something similar. No one's coming to save you. There's no white knight. No one's going to come and meal prep. Nobody's going to set your alarm for you and wake you up and say, hey, you're going to the gym. No one's doing that. It's you, baby. This is 100% your responsibility to make your dreams come true. And you got this. So now you have a choice to make. And my system is designed to make it simple and enjoyable. And I'm going to show you how. So right now you have a choice. You can kind of try to figure this out on your own. And you could use this masterclass as a blueprint. It will absolutely work. But the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So if you've tried this on your own in the past and it hasn't worked out, maybe it's time you try something else. So here's the second choice. The Ignition Academy addresses all your biggest struggles and puts your success within reach. You will learn from someone, me, who's actually mastered this stuff and has successfully implemented the system with hundreds, probably even thousands, of clients who were once just like you. And we want to make this not only fast, because we all want results like yesterday. I want them now, right? Now. Well, yeah, we're going to make them happen fast, but it doesn't mean much if we put it all back on next month. So I want to make sure it's sustainable in the long term. And the only way that's going to happen is if you like it, love it, and look forward to it every single step. Okay, let me show you how to do that. So I want you to think to yourself, what is your life going to be like in 12 months if you've completely transformed your body, lost all of that weight, see your photos on Instagram and Facebook and social media and go, damn, I look awesome. You step on that scale and see a number you haven't seen in years or decades. You walk into the room and heads turn. Your spouse looks at you, goes, damn, baby, you're looking great. Things like that, right? Having to go to the store because your clothes no longer fit. You need to buy smaller clothes, right? Those are all things that actually happen when you prioritize your health and your happiness. All right? And then conversely, what's your life going to be like if you keep doing what you're doing right now? All right. Well, I'll be fine. It's the justification of mediocrity that really gets to me. Because you see people who are, 200, 300 pounds overweight, and you think to yourself, how did that freaking happen, right? How did it happen that they're, 100 pounds overweight, whatever it is, right? And this isn't a judgment thing. This is reality. This is a justification. Well, I'm only 5 pounds overweight, and that 5 pounds will become 10. Then it'll become 20. Then it'll become 40. Then 50, then 75, then 100. It happens 1 pound at a time by justification of excuses, of bullshit, right? And what we need to do is start not validating why we shouldn't, but why we should and why we must take action to change our lives for the better, not just for ourselves, but for our families, for our spouses, for our kids, to be the inspiration they deserve. Because believe me when I tell you, hopefully they're learning from what we teach them, but they're definitely learning from what we show them. And if we show them that being overweight and unhappy is normal, then guess what? That's what they're going to learn. If you go to, I've gone to Disneyland and other theme parks or whatever, and you see families and go, man, heavy dad, heavy mom, heavy kids, damn. Yeah, that's because our kids follow in our footsteps. So I would argue that we all should strive to be the inspiration our children deserve. Am I perfect? Hell no. I often joke that I've got two funds for my kids, one for college and one for therapy, right? But at least in this one area of prioritizing health and happiness and belief in oneself, I would like to think that I get that right, at least most of the time, right? So let's talk about the winner's path. I want you to see for yourself how easy this will be for you to achieve your dreams. So over the next 5 days, I've set aside some time. It's a one-on-one call for about 45 minutes, and we'll map out an exact action plan for you to follow so that you can hit your health and body goals within a few short months, no lie. This call has the power to be the most valuable 45 minutes you have ever spent on yourself. And that's not an exaggeration. If we decide to work together, you will get a custom workout nutrition tailored to what you like and more specifically what you don't like. If you don't like it, I'm not going to make you do it, ever. unlimited access to a proven system that's generated rapid results for hundreds, again, probably thousands of people just like you, and unlock the secret responsible for 95% of your results, making your success effortless. It's like putting your fat loss on autopilot. And again, not an exaggeration, because once you have that belief, once you become the person that you need to become, the doing of what you need to do to achieve your results becomes literally effort. Again, it's like brushing teeth. You don't have to put any thought into that, right? And fitness and health can be the same, if not better, I would argue, because it actually is enjoyable. It's going to put your success on autopilot because you can't screw it up. You can't screw it up. So if you're ready and you want to work with me personally and get the body and health you deserve, and we both, by the way, we both need to decide it's a good fit. One way or the other, I'm going to help you out. This is not a sales pitch or anything like that. We're going to explore what it's looked like to become one of my clients, and I'll invite you into a program that's designed to get you your goals fast and keep you there. This is a body and life transformation program with maximum freedom. That means, yes, you still get to eat the food you like. You want to have a couple drinks on the way. Okay, that's fine too, right? It is called the Ignition Academy for a reason. I am going to show you how to ignite your life. So my schedule can only handle about 9 calls in the next 5 days or so. So this could be the solution you've been dreaming of. So don't miss out on this is free, no obligation. Don't bring a credit card, nothing like that. To the session. And it's not a sales pitch. This is just me kind of walking you through, here's how I see you transforming your life, and here's the steps I think you need to take. And then we just basically have a chat and figure out what it is you need to do to succeed. The links are all below for if you want to talk to me, if you want to DM me, right, have a chat first, that's absolutely fine. I got you. Don't let this opportunity slip by. If you've stayed for this entire video, I gotta say you are in the top probably 1% to 2% of people, because most people tune out about 2 minutes in because they just want to go back to, again, their mediocre lives. And okay, that's fine. That's not a judgment, because I did that for years. But when you decide that you are worthy of change, that you are deserving of change, that you deserve to have the life, the health, the happiness, the confidence that you've always dreamed of, and be the inspiration to your family that they want and deserve, then we need to have that talk. We need to have that talk. So thank you so much once again for joining my masterclass. Again, if you have any questions, you feel free to DM me, leave a comment below, whatever you need. I'm here for you. Again, this is Josh Carter, the body transformation expert. Thank you so much for attending this masterclass.